Good morning children, welcome back to science class. Last week studied the respiration in organisms. From that chapter we studied respiration is essential for survival of living organisms. It releases energy from the food. The oxygen we inhale is used to break down glucose into carbon dioxide and water. Energy is released in the process. The breakdown of glucose occurs in the cells of an organism. So we call that is cellular respiration. Cellular respiration mainly two types, aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration means if the food is broken down with the use of oxygen, it is called aerobic respiration. If the breakdown occurs without the use of oxygen, the respiration is called anaerobic respiration. During heavy exercise, when the supply of oxygen to our muscle cell is insufficient, food breakdown is by anaerobic respiration. Today we are going to study a new topic that is respiratory system in human beings. The organ for respiration in human beings are mainly nasal cavity, pharynx, trachea or windpipe, lungs that include bronchi, bronchioles and alveoli, and diaphragm. We know that lungs are present in the chest cavity, which is surrounded by ribs on the sides. The ribs form a cage-like structure called the rib cage. A large muscular sheet called diaphragm forms the base of the rib cage. The diaphragm contracts and relaxes all the time. Now we know that our nostril has hair and mucus. What is the need to have them in our nasal cavity? Our nostril possesses hairs and mucus lining. These help in preventing dirt, dust and germs from entering our respiratory system. During the time of breathing, we know that breathing is a continuous process in which humans breathe in and breathe out air from the body. It is an involuntary action that is controlled by our brain. Breathing consists of mainly two phases, that is inhalation and exhalation. Inhalation means the process of taking in air and exhalation means the process of giving out air. In the case of mechanism of breathing, during the time of inhalation, what are the changes happens? The diaphragm contracts, it flattens and increases the space inside the chest cavity. This makes the air breathe in and so chest rises and air outside rushes into lungs. During exhalation, the diaphragm relaxes. It decreases the space inside the chest cavity. This makes the air breathe out and so the chest moves inward and expelled out. The air that breathes in passes through the nostrils. The hair and mucus present in the nostrils trap dust and germs that present in the air. The air then enters a tube-like structure that is called what? That is trachea or windpipe. The trachea divides at the lower end into a narrow tubes called bronchi. Then these bronchi further divided into numerous extremely narrow tubes that is called bronchioles in each lung. These tubes open into tiny air sacs called alveoli. The walls of the alveoli are lined with a network of blood vessels and capillaries to facilitate the exchange of gases. What are the main differences between inhalation and exhalation? In the case of inhalation, diaphragm contracts and flattens. But in the case of exhalation, diaphragm relaxes and becomes dome-shaped. Other activities involved in inhalation, that is, volume of chest cavity increases, lungs expanded, air flows into the lungs. But in the case of exhalation, volume of chest cavity decreases, lungs contract, air is forced out of the lungs. We know that in respiration, the exchange of gases takes place between the alveoli of the lungs and the capillaries surrounding it. When fresh air enters the alveoli, oxygen from the air passes into the blood in the capillaries and binds to the RBC. We know that what is RBC? It's a red blood cells. Here, at the same time, the carbon dioxide passes out of the blood into the alveoli. This entire process is known as gaseous exchange. Next, breathing in other animals. We know that animals such as elephants, lions, cows, goats, frogs, lizards, snakes, birds, these all have lungs in their chest cavities like the human beings. Next we study about breathing in cockroach. Many insects like cockroaches have a small opening called spiracles that is present on the sides of their bodies. Also, they have an air tube like structure that is called trachea that allow the exchange of gases in the insects. The air enters the body through the spiracles and diffuse in the cells via the trachea. Similarly, the air from the cells enter the trachea and moves out of the body through spiracles. Next, earthworm. Earthworms breathe through their skins. The skin of an earthworm feels moist and slimy on touching. Gases can easily pass through them. Though frogs have a pair of lungs like human beings, they can also breathe through their skin, which is moist and slippery. Breathing underwater. Can we breathe and survive in water? There are many organisms which live in water. How do they breathe underwater? Animals that live underwater have special respiratory organs that is called gills. They are a comb-like structure that present on the skins of these animals. Gills allow the exchange of gases between animals and the water easily. Some animals called amphibians that can breathe on land by lungs and through moist skin underwater. For example, frogs and toads. Do plants also respire? Like other living organisms, plants also respire for their survival. In the respiration in plants, we know that plants also respire. They take in the carbon dioxide present in the atmosphere and use it in the process of photosynthesis that to produce food. As a result of photosynthesis in plants, they release out oxygen in the environment. All the parts of the plants can independently respire. That is, they can take in the carbon dioxide and releases oxygen on their own. The leaves of plants have stomata that present upon them, which are small pore-like structures that allow gas exchange in leaves. Stomata are the small openings present on the surface of the leaves. What is the function of stomata? Exchange of gases takes place through the stomata. The woody stems of the plants also respire. This is because of the presence of special tissue called lenticels. The cells of this tissue have large intercellular spaces. They exist as dead cells on woody plants and roots and allow the exchange of gases. The bark of trees, although that is impermeable to gases, hence these tissues serve an important purpose of respiration in the stems. As the name suggests, lenticels have a lens-like shape. The roots of the plants have hair-like structures on them. Hence, they can absorb the air present in the soil. What happens if you accidentally overwater a plant? We know that the roots get oxygen from the soil. We also understand that the air in the soil is present between the soil particles. Along with the air, soil also contains some water or moisture. If you overwater the plants, the spaces between the soil particles get clogged. As a result, the roots will not be able to get enough air and the plant can die. Let us recall respiration in humans. The inhaled air passes through nostrils into nasal cavity and then into lungs through windpipe. Breathing is a part of the process of respiration, during which an organism takes in the oxygen-rich air and gives out air rich in carbon dioxide. The respiratory organs for the exchange of gases vary in different organisms. During inhalation, our lungs expand and then come back to the original state as the air moves out during exhalation. Increased physical activity enhances the rate of breathing. In animals like cow, buffalo, dog and cat, the respiratory organs and the process of breathing are similar to those in humans. In earthworm, the exchange of gases occurs through the moist skin. In fishes, it takes place through gills, and in insects, it through the trachea. In a plant, the roots take in air present in the soil. Leaves have tiny pores called stomata, through which they exchange of gases. The breakdown of glucose in the plant cells is similar to that in other living organisms. I hope you understood this lesson. Thank you.